Hey guys, Matt here. How's it going? Ni hao.
Ni hao.
He's my driver. Good guy, good crew. I'm in Hami in Xinjiang, and today we're taking a tour around a few different places. In this place right here, we're going to take a look at hamigua. Gua means melon. You can use gua to describe watermelon, cantaloupe, different types of things. But here in Hami, there is a special type of melon called hamigua, and I think most Chinese people know it. It's very, very similar to cantaloupe. As a matter of fact, I think it's probably a subspecies of cantaloupe. But we're gonna inspect a Hamiqua Farm. Let's check it out. I'm always surprised at how some of these succulent fruits and stuff grow in place with such little rain. Last time they had rain was like 2 weeks ago. They don't have a lot of rain here, you know? Not this far north in western parts of China. Hi, ni hao.
Ni hao.
你的微笑很酷. You got a smile. In 1974, this guy right here, who's a Uyghur farmer, he was given the privilege of taking a bunch of hamigua all the way to present to Chairman Mao way back in the day. He's very proud of that. Reminds me of my grandpa, sort of, in some ways. Like, I'm sure that's a story that he's like, oh man, do you remember the day? And then his kids are probably like, yeah, I know. You told us a million times. But you can tell us again. Is it freshly baked?
Yeah, this morning.
Oh, wow. And then these I've never seen before. These are like white raspberries. 可以是什么？这个也是桑葚是吗？对，这是白。This is also mulberry. Oh, these aren't raspberries. These are mulberries. They're actually a little bit less sweet than raspberries. I should have known that they weren't raspberries. Tasty though.
好甜。
What, the red ones?
好甜。
Let me try. These are the dark ones.
Oh, I've never heard of mulberries
that is good. That is good. Fresher the better. Aren't mulberries the leaves that the silkworms eat, right? Mm-hmm. We actually bred silkworms. I'm going to link to that episode in this episode where we bred. Did you ever breed silkworms? It's a hobby here in China.
It's a hobby?
Yeah, we had to feed them so many mulberry leaves that they grow really thick and fat, and then they turn into moths, and then you break their cocoons and send the cocoons to the facility and get made into gloves and stuff.
This is the sweetest mulberry that I ever tasted in my life, I think.
And then what's the name for these?
Apricot.
In Chinese.
杏。
Apricots? Good.
黄色的是吗？
Ooh. A little bit sour. Very, very good. So is this just hamigua?
是的，哈密瓜地。
Where are these grown?
这个是在桑树在哪？
桑树在下面也有，然后上面等会儿你们到花园乡的时候会看到。
哇，来这
可以看吗？
我们尝尝好几
尝一下，可以吃的。
尝一
吃。
These are freshly baked naan. Freshly baked this morning, actually.
Freshly baked bread. You know, this is keto violation. But when in Rome, when in Hami, got to try the Hami stuff. So when he delivered the hamigua to Chairman Mao, was it he went to Beijing or?
Yeah, she insists she really wants to give those melons to Chairman Mao. So he was asking people like who can help me.
Yeah.
So some people just arranged this one train.
Yeah.
One train. So like okay, the food.
So it was his idea to take them to Chairman Mao.
It's his idea. 就是当时是爷爷完全自己的想法，
对，完全自己的想法，他就觉得这么哈密瓜一定要让毛主席尝一尝。
为什么呢？为什么一定要让毛主席来尝尝这个瓜呢？
Akin koğun tarafı amyag bari kanı bizden şu koğulumuz çıkıyor banka. Zıngo da yaydı. Şu hoşalçılığını bildirici için bağışığa hoş koğunum koğun üzüp atızda açık kısım adamla görmey. Hoş koğun bir mağuşığa bagasa. Mağuşu yapakasa. Koğun atızda açık zaman bey mağuşuğa bak. Çakçaklarını kılışı kıldığı nay. Man göre bunu sa biya ma koğunu göre mağuşuğa apağasa ma. Ama inakla kıldığı şu nimmele akindeze bu Habini Xinjiang şehriga qo'g'i aldab qoldi. Ular qo'g'i bir chepi qo'g'ini oldiga bizni qo'g'inda oldi. Ham shuni yochay qildanga ekan desa, yochay qilib apırdanga menga kelib qoldi nima?
他是那个
Ular ekan desa yochay qilib nima bama nima Xinjiangga. Xinjiang bir qo'g'ini qo'yib ekan mavshi apaga 27 qo'g'i apadik bu yerdan mayna. Shu chepiga basib. Shu bir chepiga sapla. Ake ularni ki nimasini tushirib, ake o'zini qo'g'illarni ake jo'shiq apadik. Jo'shi ko'rdi. Jo'shi mana o'tdiq jo'zdan qo'yaman aka. Yo'qsa, nega suqurmanda nega chapiga dayqala arshchi g'amovish jasonda. Ikordeha khabish jangnachi. Yexoma mavishga nega sumchilma. Ochiya kan khala, maushi ikor zoqala joziksan.
他说当时坐在毛主席旁边。
he was sitting right next to Chairman
Oh,
Mao.
wow. Very cool.
那个爷爷就是因为他刚才就是充满热情的讲这一段那个自己翻身做主人呐、这段历史。那我想就问问，那在那之前。
So this guy has an amazing story to tell. He's very, very passionate. Whatever your thoughts of Chairman Mao are, at the time he was such an amazing and influential leader, and it affected this man's life so profoundly that he wanted to bring some melons to present to Chairman Mao. So he took a train ride from here. How many hours was it?
当时要坐车得多长时间到北京啊 ？1 week.
7 days.
Yeah.
It took 7 days. He had 27 melons, and he took this train ride all the way to Beijing. When he got to Beijing, he was able to sit right next to Chairman Mao. I mean, think about having a seat next to like some amazing leader, some influential leader in America or something. It filled him with a lot of pride. As a matter of fact, I think he probably, his grandkids are like, oh, Grandpa's telling us the story of Chairman Mao again, you know, because he's pretty passionate. And so he presented Chairman Mao with the melons. You ate the melons together? You all you shared the melons together? Was it at a restaurant or was it like, where did he sit with Chairman Mao?
I think Barry doesn't know.
Okay, 没关系. So they sat together, they had one interpreter, so there was only 3 people. So it was like really intimate affair with him and this huge leader in his life here in China. And for him in particular, it was a big deal because at the time there was all of these big companies in China and the companies were controlling all of the labor underneath. But what Chairman Mao did, you know, in accordance with the revolution and the things that happened during that day, is it broke up big companies and allowed the croppers to actually have a percentage of the company. So he became part of this business of growing the melons, and so he had some sort of like a relationship, a positive relationship with the product that he used to work on the farm to grow. So it was kind of special. Right now the melons are just pre-harvest. It's the beginning of June, and at the end of June you'll have the large-sized melons that you can harvest. Yeah, Hami is very well known for melons. And yeah, this is a hamigua right here. Very, very much like the meat of a cantaloupe. Like even the consistency is just like cantaloupe. But as well here's the yellow hamigua, and then they have like greener hamigua. And then of course you have your xigua down here, which is your watermelon. So if you look around, you can see some of these juveniles, not quite ready to go, but there's still quite a lot of flowers. As a matter of fact, you can see the yellow flowers here. The leaves are quite sharp and spiny, like almost like feels like Velcro. Very, very rough. There's a mountain around here, I guess, that supplies the irrigation for the water, and because I mean this place doesn't get a lot of rain, so they must depend on glacial melt, seasonal glacial melt that comes off of the mountains nearby. Pretty interesting when you look at this place from the sky, because It's just dry, arid desert all the way around it. And there's like this little oasis of fruit. I always feel like I have to preempt any sort of strange objection or anger that comes from things when I mention like a person like Mao Zedong, you know. He's a bad guy, he's this and he's that. Well, you know, there's a group of people that didn't think he was a bad guy, and there's a group of people that do think he's a bad guy. That is obviously a situation up for debate, but to not share one side of the stories just because you only want to share the stories that agree with the fact that you think that everything that this guy did was bad, it's not fair, you know. So, you know, it's kind of interesting to see this old man's perspective. He's 86 years old. And going and visiting Mao Zedong was like a critical moment in his life. Probably one of the things that he thinks about in his entire life was his ability to go to Beijing and present 27 of his greatest melons to the leader of the country at the time. The leader of a huge country, the leader of a country that was out of conflict and buried in all sorts of problems, you know. But for him and his story, it was a triumph for him. It was his ability to have some control over his life at a time where he felt like he was not in control and not molding his own destiny. And so the birth of communism affected a lot of people in negative ways, but affected this man in a very positive way. So it's just something about having an open mind and thinking about all sides of a story is helpful, I think. And to look on his face, the genuine pride and happiness that's carried through all of these years that still resides in this man, you know. It's something that's worth talking about.
I want to be taller.
All right, King Jingjing is right next to me. She's standing on a platform, so she looks taller than me. So it'll be kind of nice. But she's just interviewed. Well, tell me about who you interviewed and what he had to say.
So this guy is a farmer, Uyghur farmer. He's been living here for his whole life. He's been working as a farmer for over 40 years actually. So he said he's really happy about now because in the old times they tried to grow everything like cotton, melon, but many things didn't grow very well, and they couldn't afford meat for each meal. But I think he said things gradually changed since the 1980s.
Okay.
They have rows. Now they only focus on growing this Hami Melon. They can sell that everywhere, so they earn. They can earn
even Japan, right? Like it goes international. Yeah.
So now they earn around 100,000 every year.
Oh, okay.
And not only could they eat meat every meal, he just bought a new house, a new apartment, like in 2019.
Yeah.
He's very happy. Like our farmers are so happy. We live much happy. Like who wouldn't be happy for this? We have roads. We get money. They don't need to worry about anything.
Yeah.
So
there's something about having security. You know, like there's always like working hard, but as soon as you feel like, wow, I can afford the life that I didn't think I could afford before, that's a really freeing, like liberating feeling, you know. Like a lot of people, like from the West, I mean, obviously minimum wage needs to be increased and stuff, but there's a lot of comfort in America. We can go to Walmart. We can afford it's a fairly easy life in many ways. But it was a hard life here not too far ago, and people today are experiencing a level of like, you know, like they can kind of like, I can breathe now. I can feed my family some meat. I can enjoy that. And you know, I flew the drone just now, and this whole area is desert except for this green oasis in the center. So it's really wild to see it from the sky because you're like, wow, this is an oasis of success, of lush fruits and all these opportunities. It's kind of interesting. Nice to share the story. Yeah, he seemed like he was enjoying talking to you.
Yeah, he's really happy. Who wouldn't be happy? He asked me several questions. Who wouldn't be happy? Who wouldn't be happy? And because there's another guy, they are buying those melons from the farmers.
Okay.
So they, like for the farmers themselves, they don't need to worry about where do I sell this?
Right.
They just sell, I get money. So all of the farmers are buying apartment in the city. So it's like, he's really, like, the policies are great.
You know, it sounds very propagandistical. Policies are great, but think about it. Okay, so this oasis, desert as far as you can see outside, the roads in the 80s, just think about it. They were probably just really, really rough. In order for a truck to come here and pick up the xigua or the hamigua and take it to someplace, much more difficult. So China laid in all the roads, and this oasis just suddenly bloomed, right? So you have the infrastructure. I keep saying the word infrastructure. It makes me sound like, I kind of feel like a parrot. Infrastructure. But
they are important.
But think about it. Because not only do the farmers have success, the buyers have success, the transportation, people making the cars have success. You build the roads, and like there's a movie in America with Kevin Costner. He lives in a field. It's called Field of Dreams. And they want him to build there's spirits in the field that want him to build a baseball field. And he's like, there's no reason to build a baseball field here. Why would I want to build a baseball field here? But the voice from the field goes, if you build it, they will come. And then, like, basically, he builds a baseball field, and all these successful baseball players come, so it becomes successful. But that's like really like here in the Field of Dreams. There was a voice, and it was the government saying, if we build it, they will come. And if you build it, the opportunities will come, the jobs will come, the money will come, the meat will come, and all of these things. I don't know. It's a great story. I think it's a great story.
Even the grandpa said in the old times when he was young, selling this like melons to Gansu, which is just next to Xinjiang, was extremely
very difficult.
Like even they had trains back then. It took them 7 days to get to Beijing.
Yeah.
So like,
and think about a melon, like a succulent melon. Those things go bad, you know. And especially back then with refrigeration, you had to keep things cool and in a certain sort of environment. I mean, these things don't last forever. So the quicker you can get them out, the better the quality of the fruit's going to be, and the farther out you can get them to get different markets. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Where are we going now? Maybe some more fruit places. Kind of funny in the Qing Dynasty. Qing Dinosaur. My Annie always says that when she first told me about dynasty, it sounded like dinosaur. Anyways, the Qing Dinosaur. The emperor came here and tried some of the fruit in the hamigua, and he's like, "This place is called Hami. This melon is going to be called hamigua." And so that's how it got its name. The emperor in the Qing Dynasty was like, "Hamigua is what it's going to be," and so hamigua is what it was. Funny personal story. This is xigua, a watermelon. I hated watermelon up until I was probably 12 or 13 years old. My dad loved watermelon, and I never gave it a chance because when I first saw it, I thought it was the same color and consistency of a tomato. So I thought to myself, tomato, I don't like tomatoes, so I don't like watermelon. And even when I ate it, he's like, my dad forced me to, he's like, give it a try, it's really good. I tried it, but my brain told me tomato, and I knew I didn't like tomatoes, so my brain told me I had to hate watermelon too. Thank God I grew out of that phase, and I was able to taste it. You know, that's a good analogy to the need for travel and the need for experiencing things, because a lot of times we might have preconceived notions about things that our minds and the media and things have kind of put in there, and so we create this narrative in our head that, you know, certain things are bad, or China is bad, or this thing is bad, or Vietnam this, or whatever, or this type of person this, and you have to like wipe that out of your mind, and then you have to give it a try, fresh, open your mind to the idea and say, okay, with the new input and allowing myself to take this idea fresh, I really like watermelon. Little tip, if you take a watermelon, you cut a hole in it, you pour a bunch of vodka in it, put it in the refrigerator for a night, you got yourself a party. This is good. Eat the seeds too, don't be afraid. All right, so we're going to leave this farm, and we're going to go to another farm, a little bit larger, and we'll see the difference. Okay, we're in a different place now. It looks very similar, but if you look, each row of crops here is a different type of hamigua. There's like 300 different types of hamigua. There's even like an American sweet hamigua, which is funny. That literally says Megua Tian Hamigua. It's funny. And then behind me is a mulberry tree. The mulberries that we ate at that last place. This is one of those trees, and thank God you don't have any silkworms, because if the silkworms were here, they would just Mao, 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 Mao. They would have this tree stripped of all foliage in record time. Those things are monsters. This is the photographer with us, and he's taking some amazing video. My camera's okay for doing vlogs, but his camera just takes the most beautiful videos and pictures. There's no way I could travel with that camera. It would just be too massive to carry around everywhere I go. But there's something to be said for carrying around a really, really nice DSLR that you can just get the most beautiful, beautiful pictures and beautiful videos with that bokeh. The bokeh, if you guys don't know, is the blurring of the background to the foreground or the foreground to the background. So like when you have like my head talking and in the background it's like really, really nice and blurry. That's bokeh. That's that really, really nice wide aperture. Or narrow aperture. Is it wide aperture or narrow aperture that you want? I think it's wide. Wide aperture? So here's a board with a few of the different varieties of hamigua. And there's all different types of all different flavors and varieties. As a matter of fact, right around here, right here, is Megua. Megua Tiangua, is that what it says? Tiangua? Megua Tiangua. American sweet hamigua. One of the things about being a travel vlogger is it allows you an opportunity to see out of the way places that, you know, I find a lot of Chinese people, sometimes I'll talk to them and they'll say, wow, you've traveled around China more than me. And that's, that makes me proud, you know, to be able to have a perspective of a country that is so deep and focused, and not only learning about the crop but also the history behind it and the people that take part in growing it. So it's been really special. If you want to follow me on Patreon, do so. We're moving on to this next thing. We're going to look at some traditional dance, and we'll see some people at lunch. I think I'm going to make a lunch episode after this, and we'll hang out with some people at lunch and we'll see what their life is like and some of the traditional customs. And then throughout the day today, actually, we're going to go see some more musical things, some instrument production, and a type of music that's very special in this area. It's not even just music; it's some sort of like a type of production that infuses like dance and instruments, and also like what did they say? Like improvisation. So look forward to that in the next episode. Take it easy, guys. Buy some melon. And Jing just yelled at me. Yesterday I was in the car talking to her. I got excited and I suddenly increased my voice volume more and more and more. And pretty soon she's like, I gotta clean my ears out because I can barely hear out of the ear that you were talking to me from. And I says, I get excited, I talk loud. And just now she was way over there. She's beyond there. She's like, Matt, I can hear what you're saying. I do have a voice that projects. It's a very, very loud voice. It's good for video though. Not good for telling secrets. Hi, man.
All my time is that killed. Your time is that killed.
You know, one of my goals in life is to be able to be so free that I can dance anywhere. I might be very open to be able to talk and like kind of be open to like have a conversation with somebody. Pretty much everything except dancing.